Myra, so I have to ask you these questions because I think it's important to talk about. Where were you when you found out about the invasion that was happening back home?
Well, I was at home at that time. I was doing my singing lesson. So it was from 10 to 11, the lesson, and then closer to the end, I don't remember, I was searching for some song I needed, and then the pop-up came in WeChat, and then a friend of mine who was in Beijing at that time, Ukrainian guy, he's like, war started, and I'm like, just like everything inside of you just like drops. You just don't know what to do. You're like, I start texting my parents, and it was like early morning, so they didn't reply, and then I just like went on the news, and there is still not much in the news because it was like 40 minutes before or something.
You were in Beijing at this point?
Yeah, I was in Beijing. But like even before that, on 23rd, we had a call with my dad, and that was already like mind-wrecking because like he was like honest with me, and he's like, it doesn't look well, and he's also a military guy, but like more he's like retired, but at the same time he went to Kosovo in 2004, like he was like a peacekeeper. He knows certain things, how it's going on, and like what to look for and all the stuff. I don't know. Anyways, he said like, the conversation was so tough.
Or did he see things? This is the day. This is February 23rd, right?
23rd, the day before.
See anything,
no, it's not seeing anything. It's just more about like the fact that the troops are gathering on the border is not a good sign. That's about it, right? And then it's just like the entire conversation, like it was, the probability of it happening was so close, like the way he was talking to me and everything. And it literally was like, I had the 4 shows day, I think, in Universal. And then after my first show, we had a call with him. Like I didn't know the conversation goes this way, and I'm like, I couldn't stop crying. I was just like sitting there in the changing room, and I'm like just trying to gather myself together, and I just cannot stop crying. It's just the brain cannot wrap around of understanding that it's so close and it's so possible. After 2 world wars, you know, like doing something like this. I know I wasn't able to like comprehend all of that, like to put the mind in it, and it's just like constantly. So it was so painful. I don't know why. Nothing happened yet, but just the conversation, maybe some sort of anticipation of it. I don't know. And I'm like getting out there. You saw the show. Explosions, the guns, and everything. And I'm just like, at certain points, I was just not there. You know, I'm standing there, everything is exploding, and I'm like, I don't know, I never felt something like this, and then next day, this is when it happened, and it's just like, what the fuck? So like maybe for 3 or 4 days, you just can't stop crying. It's just like, it's weird, it's scary, it's helpless, it's
because you're so far
frustrating.
So far away.
It's not even me being there, it's about like how we are all helpless to change anything. Just because of idiots over there, people are dying. That's how it always was, like in terms of I don't know, like even economy, like the interests are there in front, and then the people are somewhere there down there, and that's what's exactly happening. And I don't know, I guess like just helplessness, that's even not the strong of the word to say it, but like you cannot do much about it. It doesn't even matter, like in fact that I'm here, it's better for my parents because my mom less worried, you know, like, and then I would be calling them and she's like, please don't worry, please don't worry. I'm like,
how can you not?
Yeah, how can you not? But also I cannot tell them I'm worried. So I'm like, I'm not going to be worried if you're going to tell me how everything is going on, honestly, without trying to, because like, you know how parents, and I did the same to them. I would not say certain things that happened to me here, like the motorbike accident or stuff like this. They didn't know about it. They didn't need to know about it. I'm fine. And the same, they would like sometimes hide some things like from me, like if it's not very, but like I'm like, here, I need you to tell me everything that's going on. Because otherwise I'm gonna go on the news and find out a lot of bullshit, and then or I will start overthinking stuff. I'm like, you tell me exactly how it is in our region.
And what were they saying that was happening? So February 24th?
They weren't saying much because my city is like, so you've heard about you've heard about nuclear power plant, not Chernobyl one, another one, like on the south. There is a small city where the power plant is, and my city is a big city of the region, the main city of the region, which is 100.
In the east side, right?
Southeast, next to Donbass. But at the same time, we are like, the region is like this. There is Azov Sea here. My city, which is main of the region, is like all the way in the north. And since they're coming from like east and south.
So actually February 24th, nothing was happening in your region?
No.
Right?
No, but bombing was happening. Like missiles were striking everywhere where they were saying it's a strategic object, which my city also have. Every city was, I think every city was damaged. And there was no casualties, I think.
At that point?
At that point, there was like few people got injured, I think, when they striked on the train station or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, the entire fact of imagining that I have friends, my godson is there, you know, like all of these things, and then just imagining like they're just sitting in the apartment and then the sirens turning on and they just run in the bunker. And then I would talk to my friends and they like, I cannot even imagine how it is, right?
No.
But sitting here and like knowing that this is what they're going through, like you can't. It's just
February 24th, were you like, okay, mom and dad, you guys need to leave?
yeah. But my dad and my brother cannot leave.
That's it.
Yeah, and my mom wouldn't leave because first of all they're not gonna leave them. Who's gonna cook for them?
Yeah.
Moms. Also, she's a wife of the military guy, and since like USSR times, it was like you go where your husband goes, because during USSR they were traveling a lot. Like all the military dudes
Yeah.
would travel a lot of different bases or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So like there was like this kind of cultural thing of like wife is going anywhere, like to Siberia basically
Yeah.
with her husband. So I guess it's still the mentality. And then also I cannot do much about it because I'm here and I cannot freak her out on the phone and be like, right? I also need to understand that like how calm I can be, as calm she will be, because she's there and she's not calm, and I cannot just add up on it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how hard it is for me here and like how I think it's dangerous there, but I trust my dad who can make decisions. I trust, I mean, they're all like grown up people, right? I cannot freak them out and be like panic here, right?
Yeah.
So
And your brother had to join, right? He had to join.
no, he doesn't have a special training. So like they don't bring people in unless necessary. They might be called in.
Yeah.
But first, like at least our military, what I know from news, of course, like from official sources and stuff, that they are trying to bring people who are actually trained first
Yeah,
instead of
makes sense.
having them as a meat.
But what was the worst part, I guess, from February 24th till now? What's been the worst part they've seen or experienced?
Somewhere in May, I believe, there was information coming through that the Russian troops were gathering next to my city. I would call in with my dad and he's like, oh, they're shooting again. So it's like literally they can hear it.
Shooting at what?
They were like the area 60 kilometers, I think, from my city or something. Of course, there is like some Ukrainian army as well, trying to stop them and stuff. So that's what.
The shooting back and forth.
The shooting back and forth. For me,
to try to defend the area. To try and move them back.
Yeah. They eventually heard it, right? And then that would be like I would be on my phone with my dad, and then he was like, "Oh."
You could hear the.
I didn't hear. Like I didn't hear clearly. He's like, "Oh, shooting again." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, they are there." Like he will tell me, like, "But it seems like it's fine, no problem. Like, don't worry." I'm like,
but the fact that they are so used to that's
it's scary.
Really scary.
Yeah. And then you're used to the sirens and everything.
And they would just hide, I guess, stay indoors and hide.
Well, my mom wouldn't hide in the bunker because the closest to my house was in my school, actually, where I was studying. But it's like 15 minutes walking. She would hide, like there is like rules for them to hide between like main walls and stuff. And
I mean, obviously you couldn't go home. You couldn't do anything, obviously, under the circumstances. But what you did do was you were very vocal online on your social media platform. What made you decide to do that? Like, what were you going for?
People need to know and people need to see that it's happening. And like, unfortunately, how does world works now? The more people hear it, the more people talk about it, the more governments see and pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise everybody's like,
public knowledge, I feel like the more push there is from public, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because like, we don't have like maybe much influence on the governments and stuff. Like, sometimes we feel helpless. But like, if you don't even talk about it, that's about it. Like, you know, they feel it's okay. Like the same what happened with Russia, what they did with Georgia, what they did with Moldova, right? Everybody was like, it's like what they did with our east part, you know?
Yeah.
In 2014. The same, we kind of kept silent. I mean, of course not everyone, of course not to the extent, like I cannot say like everybody did nothing for it, but at the same time this situation got so much attention that there is no way for people see it and see how other governments reacting on it and all of this stuff, which is, I mean, in our situation, look at Ukraine, look at Russia, look at the resources we have, military, everything. Like we cannot do it by ourselves completely, but again, the military, our military is freaking amazing, and the main, I think, part is like we know what we are standing for our land, for our territory, for our culture, for just being Ukrainian, because what they're doing now, they're just missiling for everything, like schools, shopping malls and stuff. Shopping mall in my city, the huge rocket went on, and I was looking at the pictures, and like, we went with my friends there often. Like we had like go to the cinema. There is a cinema on the last floor, and all the stuff. Like we had the memories there together. And then you look at all of this, and you're like,
it's not real.
Fucking shopping mall. Yeah. Are you kidding me? There is no strategic objects around. It's a middle of the city, and the same what happened in the Kremenchuk. It's just mental. So at least like Ukrainian army knows what they're standing for. What Russia army does. The month into it, I think we had a conversation with my mom, and then she just says like, okay, we hide the documents there and there if something happened. And you're like, fuck me, you kidding? I'm like, what? Oh. She's like, yeah, documents for the apartment and like bank card and stuff like this. Like if something happened, it should be safe over there. And you're like, woo. Try not to cry on the phone.
Yeah, so you were obviously posting about what was going on.
Yeah.
What was the reaction of people, obviously, to you? Like,
maybe the circle of people I'm granted with are amazing people, so most of them just would repost and support it, and like, yes, it is wrong. Because it is, like, from the perspective of human being, it's just wrong. Why do people here need to fight while people here get extending their interests in a way,
I think one thing that people have seen is, as you said earlier, the unity of the country, especially the ordinary Ukrainians, as well obviously as the president.
I think like the main reason why the military is still standing and everything is like because he didn't leave, honestly. I think it's a big one. Like people might overlook it, but the fact that he didn't leave means that he still because like if he would flee
the opportunity
a couple of times and it was dangerous situation apparently according to the news. The fact that he didn't fly away means like he didn't betray us. I think on the like subconsciously for the nation that was a very big sign of like if he would go away, it's like, oh yeah, again, people who have money of course fly away and we need to die here. I know, seeing it from so far it feels this way, and like looking at the entire development of Ukraine since 1992, 1991, I think it's a big one. And then unfortunately for this reason, but it feels like Ukraine never was so united, Ukrainians in general.
But now it's like, wow, everyone kind of bows down to how you guys as a nation have like stood up.
Our military is freaking incredible.
Yeah. Is that what you think is really helping defend the country?
The military?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
and the people? Like, why do
people helping each other? Yeah. Like, there is a lot of volunteers on spots who are cooking for the military, Because, like, yes, there is, like, support, money support, but to get this money into items that you then bring to people, it's actually take time, and also some items are not available. Like I'm keeping in touch with a volunteer in my native city, and then he would be like, the money is not the problem sometimes. The problem is like to get this thing to the place because sometimes it's dangerous, or to access, or to buy things in general, and then to bring it all the way from Poland. It takes so much time, and it's also dangerous because the missiles, some of them are striking even to the west, right?
How do you deal with that though? Like, like mentally, how have you been coping?
I went for the Reiki session because I do feel like I like to meditate. I like the meditations. I like to reflect on all of this stuff. And after maybe 2 weeks after the war started, I was like, I'm not able to figure it out by myself. Like I cannot get back on track. I feel like it's like pushing me more and more down, like mentally. So I went for this like Reiki session, and I don't know, it just like kind of washed the energy out, and then I could separate myself a bit from the situation and be like, okay, I'm not there.
Yeah.
There is no need for me to worry. The only thing, like, what can I do from here? That's about it. So, because otherwise, it's just like. So,
apart from like social media, and obviously updating everybody on your social media, was there anything else that you did?
Yeah, the fundraisings and stuff.
Fundraisers,
People around, like they're doing so much. Honestly, like So, like I feel like I'm doing nothing honestly, but the people around, like even those who don't care, who are not from Ukraine, you know, people were organizing the runs for fundraisers and stuff. And now it's difficult. It becomes difficult because everybody got used to, oh, there is a war, you know.
It's happening. It's like not the way to go.
Yeah, definitely not. But I understand people like, come on, look at us. Like if it didn't touch me, if it didn't touch you through me, for example, there is so many wars going on. But like, how much attention do we pay?
Yeah, actually, that's so true. Do you think that obviously what's happening at home has actually happened in other countries? You know, invasions, etc.
Yeah, there is always those conflicts.
Yeah, other conflicts. But now that it's happening at home, in your home, would you say that it's like changed the way you think about things?
I would definitely
like.
I would understand them more from perspective. But also, some messages I get on Instagram, they would be like, oh, why didn't you scream about Iraq or something like this, you know? And I'm like, well, are you from Iraq? Did you scream for it? You know, like I don't reply those messages because I think the messages that people send in this way, it's they don't.
They're just gonna be negative.
You cannot change them if they don't want to be changed. And then like, I don't want to spend my energy on that one. If you have something to say, you can say it in a constructive way, not like you just put it here. And then if you want to cooperate on something and put the light on something else, let's cooperate. It's another way to approach each other, you know. And I think it's just like consideration and being understanding towards each other rather than blaming each other for something that's going on in another part of the world. Like if you want to help, let's help together, no problem. If you want just to blame me for something that happened in another part of the world, if it makes you feel better, blame me. I'm okay with that. I don't care.
Do you think that other countries have done enough to help the situation, or is there anything else that other countries and just frankly ordinary people can do to help?
Oh, I think we received so much help, especially Poland and all the Baltic countries, because they know, you know, like they know the mentality, they understand what's going on better than the Western. Because let's look at this. There is a lot of Russian news, which Ukrainians are lucky to understand. There is a lot of Ukrainian news, but they are so opposite. For us, let's say it's easier because the war goes on our territory and the people film with their own phones. There is no better proof. But then there is like this thing going on in Russia where it's like huge machine of propaganda which was going on for years, and then of course it was also transferred on the West, creating like, oh, we are the second biggest army. Second biggest army cannot conquer anything except few 20 kilometers they went
smaller,
they went from the border into Ukraine, but like they retreated from Kyiv. They're now retreating from Kherson a bit. Like, so Ukrainians are doing great because they know what they're standing for, but at the same time Russia created this incredible image of themselves
like
in the world.
Almost. A message.
But like if you're talking about Poland and Baltic countries, they also can understand Russian, so they know what's going on, right? So we received an incredible support from Poland, from Italy, you know, from like France, Germany, like all of these countries. They do bordering all the neighbors. They basically give more comparatively to what they have than the countries that are like prime countries.
A lot more. Just to summarize, is there anything anyone else, like ordinary people, can do to help?
Definitely, like humanitarian support is always needed, because especially those, like I was talking with my friend and he's like, they give us some humanitarian support, but then let's say like children with disabilities, you know, those centers that are somewhere in the outskirts of the region, those get forgotten for in the first place because they usually like placed behind, you know, like so. All of these small things, they always need support. And there is like a lot of articles about this country gave so much millions, blah blah, but so much money goes on the freaking war and destruction need to be repaired, and then people unfortunately comes last. So the only thing like we can do is just like support each other on this level. But again, it's all dependent on the needs of the region. So if you're talking those that are bombed now, like Kharkiv is like freaking bombed all the time, you cannot bring anything there. Mariupol, even though like God knows what left out of it, but people, like there was footage, people literally take water from the pond, but you cannot bring water there, you know what I mean? So it's like nobody asks people to like donate like millions, right?
Sometimes money can't do anything for you actually.
In these moments it's not. Those who are safe, like at least the least we can do, and then other stuff, it's dependent on the region. Some of them needs like cars, some of them need like Bayraktars and stuff like this, like, or drones, and just contact me, we can discuss.
Yes, her details are definitely going to be on this video or in the description box below. For Ukraine, what is your wish?
In economy, we were studying that every crisis brings some new opportunities. Despite the fact that a lot of people got damaged, like their lives, their families and everything, it feels like an opportunity to start from the
ground up,
yeah,
from scratch.
And in general, like, I'm really grateful for people around and for countries that helped Ukraine. Some people even don't understand how much they help. But it's beautiful to witness it, because like then you believe that there is more kindness in people than not kindness, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
I
you.
know sometimes you just don't know what to say, especially at the time when I used to see you back in February, March time, and you know your friend is hurting. Sometimes friends don't know how to approach the situation, what to say, but just being there, I guess, helps. Just being present, being there and say, look, we're here.
Yeah, no, that definitely helped. I was escaping a lot. I was just like, I need just to...
And sometimes you need to give that space, you know, for somebody to really go through what's going on and process, etc.
Yeah.
But being there as a friend, I think helps sometimes.
Definitely.
In the situation. But
I was lucky.
But thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for your questions and for
I've learned a lot.
interest.
I hope that you guys watching at home, you have taken away something from this conversation. And yeah, I think just be kind to one another.
Yeah, hope you never need to fight.
Yeah.
For at least
Even
for your life.
personally, mentally, emotionally, just keep going.
Yeah, keep going for
moving.
sure.
You know, this too shall pass. One day we can all look back and say, yeah.
And one day we're all gonna die anyway.
And that is the end.
You're gonna cut that one?
No, I'm not.
No, but we will.
Thank you.
Thank you.